श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णा प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगा ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Welcome back to the study of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying the 9th chapter, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga. Sri Krishna is saying that this yoga that I am teaching you is Raja Vidya. That means it's supreme knowledge, fit for kings. Kings in the sense that fit for those who are really endowed with Viveka and Vairagya. That means with discrimination and dispassion. So Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya, it says this is a sovereign secret. That is to say, he is revealing certain secrets or certain truths which are quite noble and meditating upon which one can achieve to the highest. So in the previous verses we have studied that Sri Krishna is saying that I am the one being, that is the Lord, the supreme being is one that needs to be aspired for. We aspire for a good home, we aspire for a good car and good children and all of that. Well and good. They are all good in its own place. But is there something higher getting which all these needs will be satisfied? So he says there, yes, it is possible. Satatam kirtayantam. That means if you constantly remember me, if there is this constant remembrance of the divine in your heart, then what happens is Nitya Yukta Upasate, you will be connected with me all the time. I have mentioned this many times before. Holy Mother Sharda Devi, she used to say that a stream of bliss is flowing within me. Whether I am cooking, whether I am feeding the cows or looking after people or trying to settle the quarrels of people around her, or whether she has any physical ailments, in spite of all of that, there is this steady stream of joy flowing within her. That is what she mentions over there. So how did it happen? Satatam kirtayantaha. That means constant remembrance of the divine. Holy Mother Sharda Devi is said to have been chanting the mantra 100,000 times every day. We cannot imagine. We can't even chant 1,000 times a day, but 100,000 times every day. How did she do it? She was constantly remembering the Lord. With every breath, in flow and outflow of a breath, her mantra was going on. So as a result, there was this constant stream of joy within herself, and that she would radiate externally as well. Whoever went to her, I had the great opportunity to meet several of Mother Sharda Devi's disciples and have their company. So I used to ask them, what impressed you most when you went to the Holy Mother? When we first saw one of the Swamis said, when I first went and saw the Holy Mother cleaning the yard and then feeding the cows and all that, the first thought that came to my mind was, well, she is also an ordinary woman. She looks so ordinary. What is extraordinary about her? That was the first doubt he had in his mind. But once he approached her, sat at her feet, and started talking to her, he felt that a great joy came over him. A great joy. His whole heart was full of indescribable joy and happiness, which he says, I cannot describe to you what it was like. But I felt that I myself was bathed in an ocean of, bathed in the waters of happiness or joy. That is how I felt when I approached her and sat at her feet. And then, of course, when she initiated, that was a different experience altogether. He completely merged himself in the absolute thoughts of the divine. He didn't have to make any effort at all. That is another thing which he mentioned was, when I stayed with her for a few days, my mind always soared high. It could never be brought down to the normal plane. That is the effect that we have when we do this satatam kirtayantaha. That means constant remembrance of the divine. Then Sri Krishna is saying that in this path of integrated spirituality, wherein you combine devotion, knowledge and action, one can realize the nature of the reality as it is. What is the nature of reality for a person who is practicing these spiritual disciplines? One will realize these things. What is it? In the previous verse, he said, you will realize that I am the father. That means I am the father and I am the mother. I am the protector, Tata, Pitamaha. I am also your ancestors. I am everyone. That is the idea. I am the Holy One to be known. And also I am the syllable Omkara. And I am also all the knowledge that are enshrined in the scriptures, the Vedas. Everything is in me. That is to say, when I approach the divine, when I am able to connect with the divine, then all these qualities will come over me as well. So one will become all-knowing. If necessary, one can know anything and everything. I will tell you one incident in the life of Swami Nirvanananda. He was one of the vice presidents of our order. He was a disciple of Swami Brahmananda. Swami Brahmananda was the disciple and also the Manasaputra, that means the mental son of Sri Ramakrishna. One day, the Divine Mother revealed to Sri Ramakrishna in a vision. The Divine Mother brought a baby and put it on the lap of Sri Ramakrishna and said, this is going to be your child. Sri Ramakrishna shuddered and said, how can I have a child? I am a monk. I am a celibate monk. Said the Divine Mother, laughed and said, he is not your physical son. He will be your mental son, Manasaputra. So when Rakhal came to Sri Ramakrishna immediately recognized that this was the child that the Holy Divine Mother revealed to him. And even though he was 15, 16 years old when he first came to Sri Ramakrishna, he behaved like a child with Sri Ramakrishna. He used to throw tantrums and he used to disobey Sri Ramakrishna. He used to do all of that. But he was really the Manasaputra and he imbibed the treasure, the spiritual treasure that Sri Ramakrishna had owned, so to say. So this Swami Brahmananda was the first president of the Ramakrishna organization. This Swami was being served by another young monk whose name was Surya Maharaj. Later he became known as Swami Nirvanananda. And I had the opportunity to see him while I was there in Belur Math. So Swami, he served Swami Brahmananda so well, with such devotion and with such care, that Swami Brahmananda became very much pleased with him. And he said to him, well, dear Suji, that's how he used to call him, Surya became Suji. Dear Suji, I bless that you have Brahmajnana, the knowledge of Brahman. So the Swami was the young brahmachari at that time, he was very much overwhelmed by that. He bowed down to Swami Brahmananda. And so in later years, he indeed had the realization of Brahman and all that. So one of a Swami who was serving him, he asked him this question. Well, Swamiji, we call Swamis as Maharaj in our organization. Well, Maharaj, Swami Brahmananda gave you the realization, Brahmajnana. He said, you will have Brahmajnana. Did you really have it? So Swami Nirvanananda said, yes, I have Brahmajnana. Then the young monk asked him, well, The scriptures say that Brahma Jnana, a knower of Brahman, will know everything. That means there is no ignorance in him at all, and whatever he wants to know, he will know. He'll be able to penetrate deep into its essence. So, since you have become a knower of Brahman, are you able to know everything about science, about technology, about everything, that all the knowledge that is there in this universe? He emphatically said, well, if I wish to know it, it is there as an open book. I can read it very clearly and I know it very well. But I do not want to put my mind into those things. Bring down my mind in order to penetrate into these things. I do not want to know all of these things, because I have known that one which alone needs to be known. I do not want to know about all of these things. So here he says here in the previous verse, Pita aham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitra monkara riksama yajurivacha. So I am the knowledge that is encapsulated in this whole universe, encompassing the whole universe. So I am there always for you to know or to realize. That is the idea he brings in. The nature of the reality is explained in the 18th verse. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam suhrit prabhava pralayasthanam nidhanam bijam avyayam. Gatihi means the goal. Bharta, the support. Prabhu, the Lord. Sakshi, and the consciousness witnessing all this I am. Prabhavaha, I am again the abode. Pralayasthanam, I am also the origin, the dissolution, their ground, their treasure house, and their imperishable seed. So there are a few words that needs to be understood here. First he says, I am the Gati. In Sanskrit, a word can have different meanings because the root meaning of that can yield itself to different meanings. So Gatihi, it comes from the root gam. Gam means to go, to move, to travel. Gati. In fact, the word go in English also has come from the same root, gam. So, gatihi means first movement. Gati also means the destination, the goal that has to be achieved. So, Sri Krishna is mentioning here that I am the road, the path, and I am also the goal. When Christ says, I am the way and I am the goal also. He says, so he is the way. If I follow the path that the Lord has chalked out for me, then I will be able to reach the destination. I will be able to reach the goal. So the most important goal of human life is to have oneness with the divine. We have come from the one and we need to go back to that one. So we all are moving. Swami Vivekananda says that all beings are traveling towards that one goal. Some do it knowingly, some go unknowingly, that's all. All beings are traveling towards it. Some take more time and some take less time. If I fly, I go faster. If I travel by road or by train, I go slower. That's all. So Gati here means he is the goal, and he is the place of rest also. Sri Swami Vivekananda, when he defines life, which I have mentioned a few times here, he says life is the unfoldment and development of a being under a series of circumstances tending to press it down. It's a very comprehensive quotation of Swami Vivekananda, a definition of life. Life is the unfoldment. See, an egg is there, and then what happens? It unfolds. That means it breaks its egg, and then the chook comes out. Unfoldment. Afterwards, what happens? Slowly and slowly, it takes the help of the environment and starts developing. While doing so, it must be very careful. The mother must be very careful that the child or the chook here in this example is not hurt, because it's very young and it can get hurt. Therefore, very slowly, very carefully, it takes care of it. So, unfoldment and development of a being under a series of struggles. Do not think that just because you have passed this, you have completely won the race. No. It is a race which goes on and on and on forever. It is recurring again and again and again until the highest being or the highest goal is reached. Once you go and reach, with Swami Vivekananda paraphrase, stop not till the goal is reached. Stop not. Keep on going. Do not say that because I have succeeded in this, there is nothing else for me to do. No, keep on doing it. So he says here, Gatihi, I am the Gati. The ultimate purpose of a human being is to totally unfold oneself and get merged in the grace of the divine. So Gatihi, and then he says Bharta. I am also the Bharta. Bharta means supporter. In Telugu, Bharta means husband. So I am the supporter. So one who is the provider and one who wards off all the dangers or unwanted difficulties that come in our life. So therefore he says he is the Bharta, he is the true supporter. And then, that is to say, if we hold on to the divine, then the chances of our going astray is minimized. There is always a chance that our ego will take us here or there, but it will be minimized if we hold on to the divine. Bharta. Then Prabhu says, I am the Lord, is the Antaryamin, as the inner ruler. The Lord, He rules us, He guides us. Don't go there, go here, do this, and do not do it. But we need to be able to listen to that Prabhu. And the Upanishads say, just because of the presence of the divine as the Lord, the whole nature works, it starts functioning. It says, Bhayadasya Agnistapati Bhayad Tapati Surya Bhayad Indrasya Vayuscha Mrityur Dhavati Panchamaha. Because of the fear, that means the presence of the divine over there, Agnistapati, the fire in flames, fire starts burning. Bhayad Agnistapati, Bhayad Tapati Surya, the sun gives light, Tapati Surya, Bhayad Indrasya Vayuscha Mrityur Dhavati Panchama. Even the gods, the Lord of all gods, Indra, is also afraid that he must do his job properly. And then finally he says, Mrityur dhavati panchama. Death does not sit quietly. It keeps on moving. Bring away those who have finished their tenancy in this world. Bring them back. So Mrityu also, death is also always functioning because of the presence of this Lord, that is Prabhu. Prabhu Sakshi. This is another word that Sri Krishna uses. Sakshi means witness. Sakshi means witness. One who sees everything. One who does not take any sides. One who is non-judgmental. See, amongst devotees, we tend to say, oh, God is very unfair. He is giving me so much of trouble. Or sometimes we'll say, God is very kind. He has helped me so much. He has made me so happy. God neither tries to make you happy, nor does he try to make you unhappy. We make ourselves happy or unhappy, that's all. We create our own happiness or unhappiness. That is the real truth. That Sri Krishna is emphasizing this truth, that I am the witness. I have no hatred, nor do I have any attachment towards anything. As the Jagat Sakshi, that means as a witness of the whole universe, the Lord observes everything. Just by His presence, make sure that everything goes on over there. And because of the presence of the divine, the universal law, which is called as Rita in the Vedas, it starts functioning. The law is upheld, so to say. But He is also present within ourselves as the Buddhi Sakshi, Buddhischa Sakshi. Buddhi Sakshi means as the witness in our intelligence, of our intelligence. So He watches the ongoings of our mind, our thoughts, and everything. So in our life, this objective judgment, that's what Swami Ranganathananji translates it as, Buddhi Sakshi, as objective judgment, must be a part of our daily life process. Objective judgment. Do not take sides. Our ego cannot be objective. See, our individual ego cannot be objective. It will always try to take sides with its own interests. That's all. When it sees something that is difficult, it doesn't want to go towards it. When it sees something that is very desirable, it will just pounce upon it. So the ego cannot have this objective judgment, because this ego is a part of our genetic system, as it were. Our whole body and mind is connected with this ego. So the correct judgment or the correct path can be given by the purified intellect. Diyo yo nah prachodayat, we say in the Gayatri mantra. May that purified intellect guide me, not the ego, but let that purified intellect guide me in my life. Let me not go astray. Watch. This watching over ourselves must become an integral part of our everyday life. Unfortunately, we do not do it. We are so much engrossed with the day-to-day scheme of our things that it's very difficult, that we hardly find any time to do this Sakshi Bhava, that I am the witness of all the happenings. Just sit quietly for a minute and then think that all the thoughts, all the sounds, everything is passing in front of me. Do not be judgmental about it. Just feel that everything is passing and that you are the witness. You are watching everything, you are listening to, hearing everything, but it is not making any dent in your consciousness or in your understanding. So it is not making any effect in your being. Just comes and passes and comes and passes. This sakshi bhava, this attitude of witness must become a part of our daily life. So he is the sakshi, nivasaha. He is the true home. He is the abode, the true home. When Swami Vivekananda as Narendranath met Sri Ramakrishna for the first time, Sri Ramakrishna asked him to sing, and he sang this beautiful song, Mono Cholo Nijo Niketani. Oh my mind, go back to your real abode. What is that real abode? The real abode is the divine, Brahman or the divine. So that is the real place where we should go for a rest. Then he says, Sharanam. He is the Sharana, he is the refuge. He is the real refuge. He is the true savior. Whenever I am, Holy Mother Sharda Devi used to say, whenever you are in distress, think that you have a mother. See, that God is there with me. I have a mother. That thought energizes us. That thought gives us a lot of strength. Whenever we are in distress, let us think of ourselves. I have a mother. It's not the physical mother, but the divine mother. Of course, even physical mother is also a great source of nivasa, a great source of refuge. Nivasaha sharanam suhrit. Suhrit is, he is a true friend. Su hridaya yasya asti saha suhrit. One who has a very kind heart is a suhrit. There are different types of friends in our life, There are the mitra, that means those who come and they help us whenever we need some help. They will come and help, but that is it. But if you do something wrong towards them, or if you behave not well with them, then such persons will not befriend you anymore. Mitra will not befriend you anymore. But a suhrit is one who has a heart of gold, as we call it here. He has a heart of gold, does not get contaminated by your attitude towards him or her, will always be kind towards you, will always come and help you. So he is a constant friend. A suhrit is a constant friend who will not forsake you, and who is the one who wants you to be better than himself. That is called a suhrit, better than himself. So such a person is known as a suhrit, the divine Lord. Who else can be such a person who can pardon all of your wrongdoings? Sri Ramakrishna used to say that if you commit 99 sins, or if you are ungrateful 99 times, but if you are just grateful to the Lord once, the Lord only will count that one good deed. Whereas with us human beings, if you if you just make one mistake but you do 99 good deeds to your friends, They will only remember that one bad deed, and then they will give you up. That is, but a Surat is one who will not forsake you, and that the real Surat, the real friend is the Lord. The Lord. Sharanam Surat. Then he says, Prabhavaha Pralayaha Sthanam. He is the sthana, the place of origin and of dissolution. It is the base of the whole universe is in the divine. Is the base of the whole universe is the divine and divine alone. Prabhavaha Pralayaha Sthanam. And then Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. He is the Nidhana. Nidhana means a treasure house, a place where you store all the valuables. That's a treasure house. So he is the real treasure house. Avyayam Bijam. Of what? Is the treasure house of the bija. That means of the seed of this universe. See, now somewhere in Mexico or somewhere, there is one place somewhere in the desert apparently where they have built a huge building where the seeds of from all the countries, from all the plants is all stored over there. So it is almost invincible place. So just imagine something like that wherein the seed of the whole universe is stored. And that is the divine. Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. Sri Ramakrishna used to give a very interesting example for this. He used to say in villages, the grandmother of the house will look at the plants or the vegetables, flowers and all that. Then she will choose the best amongst them and then will tie a small ribbon onto them. And everybody knows that when they harvest the veggies or the grains, they should not touch that. That belongs to grandma. So it is for her. So once that dries up, she will bring it and then she will remove all the seeds, and then she has got her own storehouse, her own place, and she stores all of them. So when the winter is all over, when the spring comes, then she will bring down those seeds, and then again she will start growing these seeds and germinating these seeds. So the divine Lord is the one who is the Nidhana, who is the treasure house, the grandma over here of this whole universe. So he is the imperishable seed. He says, Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. Whereas the seeds that we use in the world is mutable, it can undergo a lot of changes. Here, the divine, the seed of that the divine has is something that cannot be changed. It is eternally over there. Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. Tapamyahamaham varsham nigrunham yutsrujami cha amrutam chaiva mrityuscha sadasachaham Arjuna. He says, aham tapami, I give heat, and then varsham, I send forth rain, nigrunhami. See, I may control them or I may let them go. Amrutam chaiva mrityuscha sadasachaham Arjuna. O Arjuna, both immortality and death, both being and non-being am I. It's a beautiful verse. Tapami aham. Tapami aham. Tapas. Tapas means heat. Tapa means to heat. For anything to germinate, for anything to come into being, there needs to be this heat. Seed heat is very important. Without heat, the plants will not grow, the seeds will not germinate. So for everything there is need for heat. For any manifestation, heat is very important. So he says, I am the tapas, I am the heat behind the whole universe, so to say. Tapami aham varsham. Also, I am the sustainer. Varsha means here rain, that which sustains, that which gives life to nature is known as Varsha, sustainer. And then he says, Nigranhami utsrijamita. I both give out and withdraw. At will, I can withdraw the whole universe onto myself, and I can also give it out, so to say. There is an interesting anecdote in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. One day Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on the banks of the river Ganga, where he used to live, and he was sitting there, and he saw clearly in front of him, in a vision he saw, that from out of the Ganga waters of the Ganges arose a form of a beautiful Devi, a goddess. She was most beautiful to look at, and she rose. And as she rose, after some time, she gave birth to a beautiful baby. She took the baby in her arms, cuddled the baby, fondled it, fed her milk and all that. And after some time, this same mother who was so affectionate, she assumed a terrible form of Kali, and then she gobbled up the baby. Sri Ramakrishna shuddered at this thought, and he asked the mother, as was his habit, whenever he was in doubt, he would just ask the Divine Mother the questions, and she would respond to him. He said, "What is this, Mother? What did I see just now?" Then the Divine Mother revealed to me that she indeed is the creator of this universe, and she indeed is the one who will let everything dissolve into herself, go back into herself. We think we are somebody's, but we come from the divine and we go. So here he says, Nigranhami utsrijamicha. I am the one who gives out, gives birth, and also I am the one who withdraws everything. And then Amritam Chaiva. I am also Amrita. I am also of the nature of Amrita, means nectar or immortality. Ahamarana Shila Amrita, that which is immortal. He is the giver of immortality. See, once we are through with the trials and tribulations of this life, and then throw up our arms and say, "Oh Lord, you are the only one that is my own, and that you are the only one who can give me eternal joy, Amrita," then He will come and take. So we are all children of this immortal bliss. This has to be always emphasized. Vedanta does not believe in the concept of sin as a separate thing. So Swami Vivekananda used to say, he used to quote, Shrinvantu Vishve Amritasya Putraha Aye Dhamani Divyani Tastuhu Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam Adityavarnam Tamasah Parastat. Shrinvantu Vishve, O people of the world, Shrinvantu, listen to this. You are Amritasya Putra. You are the children of immortal bliss. Do not call yourself as sinners. Swami Vivekananda says, it is sin to call oneself a sinner. That is the real sin. So we just have some dirt, sometimes it has to be washed off, that's all. So he says, Amritam Chaiva, you are the children, we are the children of immortal bliss. And then he says, Mrityuscha Aham, that means I am also Mrityu, I am also death. So in the Rig Veda it says, Yasya Chayamritam, Yasya Mrityuhu, whose shadow is death, and whose shadow is death as well as immortality. Both are there in the divine. Death of the phenomenal world, the world that we see around us, and then immortality of the soul. That is what is mentioned over here. And he says, Sat Asatya Aham. O Arjuna, I am Sat. Sat means existence. Sat means also truth. What is truth? Truth is that which exists always. When you tell the truth, you don't have to remember it at all times. When you tell an untruth, you need to remember it. Because if you say the same thing again, you should say exactly what you said earlier. So you need a lot of brain power over there. But truth is simple and you need not worry about it at all. Sat is also Sat here means existence. It is being, and Asat is becoming. It's the cause and the effect is the divine. Sadeva Saumya Idamagre Asit. When the disciple asks the teacher, what existed before all this creation, before all this manifestation of the universe, what existed? Tell me, O teacher. Then the Guru says, Sat Eva Saumya, my child, Sat Eva. There was one thing called Sat, existence. And that existence alone remained. That existence always remains. Catch hold of that existence, catch hold of that pillar or that support, and you can go around and do whatever you want to do, but catch hold, have a firm hold upon that Sat. Sat Asat Cha Aham Arjuna. That is, both the cause and the effect is within me, and both the Sat, the reality, and also the phenomena that we see outside, not totally real, that which is apparently real is also in me. So Sri Krishna is talking to us, and then he says, Traividyamam somapah putapapa yagnirištva swargatim prarthayante te punyam asadya surendra lokam ashnanti devan divyan divi deva bhogan. Men versed in the Vedas, cleansed of their sins by the performance of sacrifices, attended with the drinking of consecrated soma juice, pray for heavenly regions. They go to the heaven of Indra, attainable by meritorious deeds, and enjoy heavenly facilities there. Now, Sri Krishna has to also pacify or give some instruction to the Vedic people who were immersed in the Vedic rituals. Therefore, Sri Krishna sometimes he brings in the concept of the karma kanda, of those who are practicing all these rituals, Vedic rituals and all that. So he is there very subtly, he is drawing their attention and says, I am there in your yajna also. I am there in what you are doing, and I am there in what you are enjoying there also. So we will come to that next time when we study the Bhagavad Gita next Sunday. Shantakaram bhujagashayanam padmanabham suresham vishwadharam gaganasadrisham meghavarnam shubhangam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogiradhyanagamyam वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओं तत्सत्। श्रीराम।